Hey everyone, it's Lisa. Today on DoodleDrawArt, we're going to draw this Deadpool logo. I'm just putting the finishing touches on my logo, and I'm going to show you how, so let's get started. So there's a few ways you can draw the circle for this logo. One of them would be to trace around something round, and if you use something like this, you could trace around the inside and the outside, which would make a really nice parallel exact circle. So I'm just going to do that with this tape and see that I've made a nice circular shape with a double ring. Or you could also do it another way, which is to anchor your finger in the center of your paper, and then while holding it in that spot, just twist your paper around and around and around, and this will give you a circle forming around the spot where you have placed your finger. So I've just gone around in a circle and ended up back where I started. So that's if you don't have anything to trace, or if you prefer to try and make a circle freehand. So now I need to know where the center of this circle is. So I'm just going to measure 10.5. So 5.25 will be the halfway point. I'm just going to make sure I even know where the middle is. So slightly lower than that last one, 5.25. That's the center of my circle right there. So now what I'm going to do is make the lines that go down the middle of the logo. So I can see my center dot right there, and I'm actually lining it up with where my millimeters are on this ruler. So I'm just going to come from the top towards the bottom, and then if I want to make it equidistant from the center, I'm just turning my ruler around and I'm lining it up again with where my millimeters end. If that makes any amount of sense to you, I'm not sure. But I can see the dot there, and I can see the thickness of these millimeter measurements. It's not exact, it's just helping my eye with a guideline. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to take the top of this and make a parallel inside line that goes all the way around the shape, trying to stay equal distance from the edge the entire time, so that you have a equal thickness of this red section. And do the same thing on the other side. I work best personally by pulling my pencil in a downward direction, and you'll find as well that you have a preference. Most people prefer to pull a line versus to push a line. So I am just turning my paper while I do this in order to keep my line reasonably accurate. Okay, so there is where my circle joined. There you have the main shape for this logo. Now we need to think about these eyes, and they fill up most of the section in the lower area. And this was my middle dot, and I've sort of erased it, but the eyes are going to be a little bit lower than the middle, and they're going to come up almost to the edge in this kind of an angle. So here's one on this side, and then we're just going to do the same points on the other side. So up to here, and so another line coming down. There we go. And then the bottom of the eye is going to curve a little bit and then come into a point. And then again, it's going to curve a little bit and come out to meet. And it's probably just a little bit less thick than that. There's a double line on this logo that I'm looking at, and that was more the outside edge. So now we do the same thing on the other side, which is to bring a line down towards the bottom, like so, and then another one underneath until it touches here. So that is the basic shape of these eyes in the middle. So all that's left to do now is to add the color, and this is kind of what makes it fun. So I've got a red marker, and I'm just going to, in time lapse here, I'm just going to color in all the red section. All right, so there's the entire red section colored in, and now I'm going to do the black section. All right, so as you can see from our example up here in the corner, the finished version, this is not it. We've got the beginnings of this logo drawn, but we have to add some more detail to it. So one of the things we need to do is we need to add some shadows in the corners of the eye. So I have some gray here, and I'm just going to darken up the corner at the top here and at the bottom to give the indication of a shadow in the eye corners. So just a little bit of gray in each of these corners to give that shape. And if you wanted to, you could even just draw a little bit of an indication of some depth in there as well. Not necessary, but you can. And then what we have to do is we have to add in all of the dirt, let's say. But there's lots of shadows in this red. So I've got my China marker, but a black crayon is as good as this, just to add in some texture to this red section. So right now I'm just going to go over dirtying up the red with some black. And I'm not being very particular about it. It's just wherever I happen to decide it's going to go. But I don't really want to see any areas that are completely clean because it's Deadpool. It's never completely clean. So we're just going to add these hints of lines and can smudge it a little bit with fingertip. You could use all kinds of things for this. You could use a pastel, you could use chalk. Chalk might not stay as well. I don't recommend using more marker because marker ends up being too heavy and you won't see the other marker through. So use something that's more, that's softer than a marker, something like a crayon or even a colored pencil would be fine for this. But essentially just making it dirty. Then I have a white colored pencil, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go and add some grayish mottling into the black here, just making it streaky and a little bit worn in through here. And again, I'm just rubbing this in a little bit just to mute the effects a little bit, but just making it scratched up and really rough looking. And I'm even going to add a thin line around the eye here, just to give just a little bit of an edge that you could see, just a reflection of it. You can't see the whole edge, so you can just give a hint of those edges existing, and do the same thing on this other side. So I'm leaving a little bit of black in between the eye and the edge of this edge. All right, so there we go, all the way. And same thing on this other side. So just dirtying up the black section with a bit of white, just to give it a very worn and messed up appearance. So if I rub over this with my finger, it smudges and blends in a little bit more. So it tends to be like a little bit darker just in those areas there and underneath the eyes. And then a little bit more scratched and lighter in these other spots. So that's generally the look you're going for. Might add a little more white after I do my red section. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to make really quite heavy white lines all around the edges of all of this where the red meets the black. It's been through a lot, I think. So it's very, very dinged up along all of these edges. So again, just around the edge of the whole thing, sort of on every edge. So the inside edges, the outside edges, but just giving it sort of a worn, like the metal is showing through the color here, just around the edges all the way. Some of them are a little more prominent than others. Just taking it all the way around, like so. So if you just look up in the corner here, you can see there are some other videos that I have links to that other people have requested, which may be interesting to you. And there's also information cards. If you're on a mobile device, you can click on the cards to get more video suggestions. And as always, I do enjoy hearing from my viewers. I recently uploaded my very first vlog. If you want to look back for it, it might be the previous video from this one, or it might be two back. But yeah, so I'm looking for some feedback from viewers, and I always do take requests on whatever you might like to draw next. So please comment on this video. Tell me what you would enjoy drawing next, what you would like some help learning. And as always, click like if you liked watching me draw this video, and subscribe for more DoodleDrawArt. Thanks for watching. See you next time.